Oh.
I see dead people.
Oh. Come on, come on.
Debo in the rap, nigga.
Come on. Come
He a
on.
free throw.
What?
Man down, call an ambulance and tell him breathe, bro. Nail a nigga to the
What?
cross. He walk around like Jesus.
Yo.
So with these
I ain't gonna
brony
ride
ass
this too
niggas trying to
long.
see Compton. The
Yo.
industry can hate me, fuck them all and they
So
mama. How
these
many options
Dodgers
you
then
really got? I
came
mean, there's too
in
many options. Up
and
in the
did a
presence
whole
of power, yeah,
number.
I'm just starting.
I'm not
Teach
gonna
your
lie
ass
to
how
you.
the
I ain't
Bible
see
of
it.
God
I
works.
ain't
And
see it.
sometimes you
It
gotta
was a
pop out
little
and
bit of a
show,
shock
nigga.
to me. Let me go ahead
Certified
and cut this.
boogeyman. I'm the
Uh,
one that up the
uh,
score with him.
uh.
Walking down all
LA.
time, I know he got
I
some
know
more
y'all
with him.
have this,
Pull up
boy.
next door, shit. Bullet
I
in
ain't
the
had
hole.
no
Say Drake, I hit
nothing
it
in
like a
my, and
dog.
nobody was
You better
really
ever go to cell
my
by the
team.
one.
So I
Say
ain't
you
gonna
got
sit
it
there and
going
act like
down,
I'm
no
happy,
limits.
sad, but I do have, you know, some opinions. So I felt like I could express them since, you know, we done with the World Series now. So let me go ahead and just do it like that right here. Let me just do it right here. Go ahead. Appreciate it. Man, let me cut that down before they go ahead and get me canceled up off of here. Let me go ahead and introduce myself. What's going on, man? It's your boy, the Reverend Taylor. I am here because I just watched this crazy ass World Series scenario where I'm watching the wildest of things happen. And I ain't got no, all right, I got like one or two friends to talk about baseball with, but not that many. So I was like, bumping, I'm just going to talk to the internet. So let's just talk with y'all right quick. All right, let's go ahead and get on into it. The Dodgers have successfully defeated the Blue Jays in a 7-game World Series, which is nuts. And you can already say it's nuts because we got what? The most recent World Series to compare it to is the New York versus Los Angeles World Series from last year, where it only went 5 games, in which the 5th inning of that 5th game, the freaking Yankees just lost all control in their ability to do anything defensively. So this is kind of dope to see a 7-game series because we haven't been able to see one based on the fact that we couldn't get quality teams on both sides. No, oh my God. So this is crazy. So my computer, I don't know why it does this thing. It's this weird thing where it gets stuck. So I wanted to just rap with y'all about what I thought was significant about this particular World Series. Okay, see, this ain't what they're supposed to be doing. In this particular World Series, we saw Yamamoto pitch not 1, but 2 games. Now, that's not uncommon, but one of them was a complete game where he pitched all 9 innings. Why did he have to pitch 9 innings? Because they can't trust their bullpen. Their bullpen is in shambles. It's kind of like, I want to say kind of like last year when they had Walker Buehler coming in when they didn't expect them to. It feels like Dave Roberts, Doc Roberts, whatever you want to call him, is always having to decide at the last minute, what am I about to do? How am I going to win this game? Like, I don't got no bullpen. Every time I try to give Blake Trinan a chance, he end up leaving the mound with 3 runs more on the board than he went up there with. So now he has to decide, like, look, bro, how am I going to freak this game? I don't know. What happens? His boy Yamamoto comes to him and is like, hey, if you want, I can play too. You're like, Yama, you just played yesterday. Hey, it don't matter. I'm ready. I'm here. I'm tired of hearing all about Shohei Ohtani doing this, that, and the third. I want to be able to showcase my talent. I am not some second-rate talent. I also costed $325 million to come over here from Tokyo and started playing this game and did it like I had did it before. Like, this is not no BS. Like, these dudes are showing why it is so important to start looking outside the country for your star players. If this is not an advertisement for international scouting, hallelujah. Now, I mean, you got to have a bankroll. Shohei ain't cheap. The dude was $700 million, even though they only paying him $2 million a year because the overwhelming majority of it is deferred, right? But that's where we are right now. These dudes are running the game, and I'm going to keep it real. They almost did not. This was not some given. This was not, oh, the Dodgers just ran through. No, they didn't. They didn't even clinch the seed. The Dodgers had to fight through the wild card. They had to beat the Reds, the pesky Reds. And that wasn't that hard. I get it. But then they had to beat the Brewers. Oh, the Brewers. Now, keep in mind, when they was playing against the Brewers, this is Dave Roberts kind of, going up against one of his former colleagues because they both, Dave Roberts and Pat Murphy, used to coach underneath I think it's Bud Black in San Diego with the Padres. So these are vets. Now, Pat didn't ever play pro ball, but he did coach at Arizona and all of that. But that don't matter because they was like, look, man, we got to do something. These Brewers ain't nothing to play with. They end up sweeping the Brewers. Not only did they sweep the Brewers, Shohei Ohtani ended up having one of the most classic games in playoff modern day history where he strikes out 10. He's pitching. He's striking out 10 batters while he's on the mound for 6 innings and also hits 4 home runs. 3 home runs, in that same game. This dude ain't human, man. This dude ain't human. Hold on one second. Just take a look at, just sit here. I want you to just watch something for a second. All right. So Shohei Ohtani is dubbed basically that guy. All right. But at the same time, he's not perfect because he almost lost this game for the Dodgers. I was going to keep it real. He almost lost this game for the Dodgers. Shohei was the starting pitcher, which I still find questionable. He already pitched this. He pitched, if I'm not mistaken, the second outing, the second game of the World Series, in which he allowed, that was the second, I'm sorry, the third game, my bad, the third game, because that was the game they lost. And Shohei is notorious for pitching and hitting, but for some reason, it feels like with the exception of that one final game against the Brewers, that when he pitches, his hitting tends to lack. Well, let's test that theory real quick. I'm going to go ahead and put this box score up on the screen real quick, and I'm going to briefly reset myself so I can manage my computer a little better. Just want y'all to look at some of the numbers on here, and we're going to have a pop quiz on this in 1 second. Check this out. Bam. Tell me what you see here that's noticeable. Did you see? Do you see it? Do you see what I see? I see Ohtani, even though he pitched, did not strike out not 9 times. I see that he actually got 2 hits, one of which I believe was an extra base. And that shows good signs. But I feel like it's one or the other when it comes to Ohtani. Like he is either going to give you good bat or good pitch, but he seems not to do both. That's why that 4th game against the Brewers was so significant, because that was one of the few games where he proved that he was actually able to pitch and hit well in the same exact game, which is something different than I think the whole Babe Ruth model goes, where he was a pitcher for the Red Sox, but then ended up being a crazy hitter for the Yankees for the rest of his career. So let's just sit here and put that in the back burner. Now, at the end of the day, Shohei still did his thing because he still got on base and he was able to not only get on base, but still managed to be the threat that he always is. That's why Shohei, even when he's not hitting, is still a productive member of the lineup because they'll walk him, which is an automatic base runner. And he used to steal bases, didn't really do it this year, but he used to steal bases. So I frankly think that even if he doesn't hit like that, he's still a hellified threat. So you got to give him his credit, man. He definitely came through, but let's go through the real reasons why this World Series was even more impactful than I expected it to be. I'm just going to keep it 100. It's because the Dodgers, it's not just their superstars that are contributing. It's not just the ones that get paid the 100, 200, 300, 700 million dollars that end up making all of the difference in these games. It's because their depth, bruh. It's all about depth. Like they got all these dudes that was on the bench that didn't even much contribute throughout the playoffs that end up coming through in Game 7. I'm talking Miggy Rowe. Let's talk about Miggy Rowe for a second. Miggy Rowe has been dubbed one of the clubhouse guys, right? Doc Roberts like to talk about him like, yo, if you watch last year's World Series win, you'll see that Miggy Rowe was the one that normally was giving the speech. He was normally the one that said the last word before they popped the champagne bottles. This year, he wasn't even on the roster for the playoffs. Even though it's one of his last years, I think it's his last year or second to last year, but he ain't going to be playing too much more longer, right? So Miggy Rowe is not necessarily one of the household names on this team. He's not the guy you think of when you think of the Dodgers. You think Ohtani, Mookie Betts, you think Freddie Freeman, rest his head on a pillow made of concrete. Those are the dudes you think of. You're not necessarily thinking of Miggy Rowe. But Miggy Rowe saved the game, y'all. Miggy Rowe is the MVP, if not Yamamoto. Miggy Rowe was the MVP of this game. If Miggy Rowe doesn't come in and hit that home run, which tied up the game, y'all. The game was tied. They was down by 1 in the 9th inning, the Dodgers was losing the whole game, bruh. They was losing the whole game. The whole game. And then Mickey Rowe off the bench. This dude had not been playing in the World Series. He hadn't been playing in the playoffs. He hadn't been playing because Mookie Betts and I believe it's Tommy Edman and Andy Paez was the ones that was mainly out there in the outfield and in the infield. But nah, not today. Not today. Your boy Dave Roberts was like, I believe in Miggy Rowe. I believe in Miggy Rowe. And what does Miggy Rowe do to pay off, to show that he appreciates being appreciated? Wham! He hits a home run, one of his 4 or 5 home runs for the year. for the year. This dude, this ain't what he do. This is not what he does. Okay? He's a glue guy. But in these moments, he proved to be clutch. The clutch gene is real. Okay? Now, not only did he hit this home run, which tied the game in the 9th inning, let me just stress to you how big of a deal that is. So there's no time clock for the non-baseball watchers. There's no, oh, you're running out of time. There's only innings. You get 3 outs per inning. This is his first out. I think that's already, if I'm not mistaken, there was already 1 out when he got up to bat. I can't be wrong. But let me just see right quick. If I'm not mistaken, this just happened a few hours ago. So let me just look and check this again from the very get. It should tell us whether or not he was, but I believe it was only 1 out. It was already 1 out, which means the Dodgers have 2 outs left. If they get a ground out, if he strikes out, if it's a pop fly, you only have 2 more opportunities. So if this doesn't go this way, the Dodgers have 1 more chance to lose. But that's not what happens, is it? Blacka. My dog hit the thing all the way out. That's for the lose, bruh. The whole narrative would have been completely different. Oh, the Dodgers, look, money can't buy you everything. Oh, knocked out by a different country. Oh, Vladdy's home. Ooh. No, this tied the game. Had this not happened, they don't even go into extra innings. So Miggy Rowe comes to save the game. Now, here's where it gets even more crazy. All right. Now, mind you, this is happening in the 9th inning after we've already had a Will Smith home run to get them at least 1 on the board. But Shohei had already got 3 runs in by the 3rd inning. They had to pull him out. Like I told y'all. Let's look at the box score. This is the pitchers, okay? Look at Shohei. 2 1/3 innings, 5 hits, and 2 1/3 innings. Look at his ERA in 2 innings. Okay, that's Shohei's contribution for today. This ain't some old over across of the. Nah, this is excuse me, not today. Well, last night. It feels like today. Daylight savings time and all. All right. So look at this, and then that's what they have at the beginning of the game. They have the whole entire game in which they are down 3-0 or 3-1 the entire game. But like I said, they finally get a knock by Will. They finally get to tie the game with Miggy. And I'm not mistaken. No, that's not what happened. Okay, I might have messed up how it happened, but Miggy did hit that home run. But I gotta make sure we remember there's so many chances that the Blue Jays had to win this game. There's so many chances. The Blue Jays left 14 batters on base, bruh. 14 batters on base. 14. That's multiple times that they had almost damn near bases loaded. One time in particular where they had bases loaded was very crucial because it was the 9th inning, bottom of the 9th, which means any run makes it a walk-off in a tie game between these two teams. And guess who comes through once more? It's your boy Miggy. Miggy pulls back up, but this time not with the bat, this time with the glove. Miggy looks and sees the ball is coming. Instead of throwing the first, second, this is no outs. He throws it to home. It's a force out. Will Smith damn near misses home plate by an inch takes his foot, his cleats off of the base for 1 second, has to get it back in. This play was challenged. They damn near didn't make it. If this hadn't happened, this was not going to go any further. This would have been a Blue Jay walk-off right here. This is inches, not even inches, an inch, less than an inch. This is less than an inch away from losing. This is the Blue Jays right here, right here, right here. You pop. If he doesn't catch that ball, if Miggy Rowe doesn't throw that ball right there, the Blue Jays win. That's how close he came. If he does not throw this ball, Pim. Pop. If he don't catch that, if his foot's not right there, they lose the game. They lose the World Series. They lose it all. But that's what you call clutch, folks. Keep in mind, the dude who's throwing also just hit a home run to give them the tie. So how do you not start calling this dude the game's MVP? And I know that's not a thing, all right? I know they don't have a game MVP. It's just either World Series MVP, NL, AL MVP. I get it. But in terms of a game, this dude, and mind you, he is not on the starting playoff roster. He's basically there in case somebody gets hurt. The Dodgers were doing so terribly because I got to say this because I already know that because my cousin Evan, if you watching, Evan is one of these people too that's going to be out there basically screaming to the ends of the earth that the Dodgers bought the World Series. That big money makes big big moves and they win big games. And you can't do it without big money. I gotta fight back against that. And I also have to keep in mind, I'm not a Dodgers fan. I am not a Dodgers fan. But it may sound like I am, but I'm not. Now, I will tell you, when it came down to choosing between these two teams, I did have to choose which team I was going to either root for or wanted to root for or whatever. I'm not going to lie to you about that. It did have to come down to a decision. Which one of these teams would I prefer to win? And as a St. Louis Cardinals fan, I clearly don't want not name one of them. I wish they both would lose. That would be my preference. I wish both of these teams lost. But if I had to choose one, normally, hey, look, get mad at me if you want. I normally tend to gravitate towards the team with the most Black Americans because I'm a Black American. All right. And that's no diss to the Afro-Latinos out there. But I like to see the teams that build on the diversity that we have within our country. All right. And don't look at it as something that should be deemed, a problem. You're dealing with the Dodgers team that is diverse, and I like that. So I pulled for the Dodgers, even though I don't want them getting no closer to the St. Louis Cardinals 11 World Series wins of all time. All right, I don't want that. I don't want the Dodgers being able to say, "Ooh, we got more wins than the Cardinals." No, we still have the second most as the St. Louis Cardinals franchise, the second most World Series wins out of all 30 teams in the MLB. Point blank period. Now the Dodgers just got one game closer. I think they have 9 now total. All right, but we are the only ones that have we got 11, and then of course the Yankees got 27. We ain't gonna talk about that. All right, so I had to this. Well, I didn't have to, but I decided I was going to root for a team, and I root for the team that I thought had the most people of color. And not only do they have the most people of color, or I'm not even gonna say the most people of color. I would say the most Black Americans. And why am I saying the most? Because they have not only Mookie Betts, but they also have Justin Dean. All right, who, even though he's not a starter, he contributed to this World Series as well. We would not have had a Game 7 if Justin Dean wasn't put out in the outfield in Game 6. And when they hit the ball out to the outfield between Justin Dean and Kike Hernandez, he hit a hole and run. I think it was Ernie Clement. I can't remember. Was it Ernie Clement? It was a weird play where the ball actually ended up getting wedged underneath the wall. And as a result, if you touch that ball, then you end up having to throw it or try to make the play. All right. But if it's stuck the same way it gets stuck, like say in the Ivy at in Chicago at Wrigley, or the way it may get stuck, somewhere in Houston Astros outfield, is the same way it got stuck in this game where Justin Dean was the outfielder. Justin Dean, again, one of the only other Black Americans that's on this team. Okay. So I like the fact that this team has Black Americans, and not only they have Black Americans, but their manager is a Black and Asian American. One of their main owners is a Black man. Maybe you've heard of him. He goes by the name of Magic Johnson. All right. Irvin Johnson, if you old school. All right. Right there behind everybody. All right. So yeah, man. Yeah. I'm here for the teams that have more representation. I'm sorry. That's just what it is. So I ended up pulling for the Dodgers, despite the fact I'm not a Dodgers fan, even though I did want to see Vladdy do his thing, because Vladdy been killing it for a little while. But I do believe that he has the reverse Samson thing going on. You know how Samson and Delilah, Samson had his hair cut off and he turned real weak. Well, Vladdy, for some reason, he had a whole lot of hair. And then when he cut his off, he turned into a whole new superhero. Like, he just put the team on his back. And Vladdy damn near didn't make it this far either. Let's keep in mind, it was earlier this year that the Toronto Blue Jays front office was toiling back and forth with Vladdy about whether or not they was going to sign him. They was trying to put it out in the press like he was asking for too much. He wanted Juan Soto type numbers, which is $765 million over the course of 15 years, which you got for the Mets, which still didn't get him into the playoffs, but that's a whole other story. And Vladdy had to go back and fight and be like, nah, man, that ain't me. I ain't out here trying to get 700. It's way lower than Juan Soto's number. So the story of the Blue Jays is more a story of fighting against the machine, because they damn near didn't have the lineup that they had. Vladdy almost became a free agent. Vladdy almost wasn't this happy. He almost was like, nah, man, I'm cool. If y'all don't want to pay me, I'm sure somebody will. And you also have to keep in mind, Vladdy had to deal with the fact that his organization was sitting there trying to front on him like he wasn't worth the money, after sitting there and courting Shohei Ohtani, after sitting there and courting Roki Sasaki, after sitting there and courting Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, after sitting there and throwing these dudes the possibility that they could be in the run for $6-7 million. Meanwhile, they sitting here with this gemstone in their own clubhouse that they basically saying like, yeah, we got money for these folks, but maybe not for you. This was the year they stood up and was like, all right, fine, we'll go ahead and commit to you, Vladdy. And he brought them all the way to the World Series. And I do say, yes, he brought them because he led this team. I don't mean he just played well. He was up there emoting, leading every single time Vladdy gets on base. He don't just celebrate and do, he looks at the dugout and he's like, come on, vamos, let's go. If I'm doing it, then you got to do it. And not only was it him, but his counterpart, Bo Bichette, was extremely instrumental, even though we didn't even know if he was going to be playing or not. Let's keep it real. He's hurt, got a bad knee. All right. And we didn't know if he was going to be able to run. Oh, I'm sorry. Not a bad knee. That's George Springer. He got a bad leg. But Bo Bichette, he had a moment in this World Series as well. Well, he had a few moments, honestly, because we didn't know if he was going to play at first. So when he started playing, we like, all right, well, is he going to play well? They was like, all right, well, should we put him on second? Should we make him a DH? Well, we can't make him a DH because George Springer's our DH. George Springer's hurt too. So we don't really know what to expect from him. I don't know what we're going to do. So you really just kind of like, all right, if Bo can do anything, even if he just takes a walk, even if it's just the threat of his presence in this lineup, like, please, that's all we really need is for Bo to just be in existence. Well, he did more than just be in existence. When he first got into the game, the very first thing he does is catch a knot, right? I'm talking about yesterday's game, not today's game. All right. The next thing he does is he gets a walk. But let's talk about the last game, the one that we just watched, Game 7. Well, Bo Bichette gets up, all right, and he's got two folks on base, okay? And he does what I think is one of the most gangster things I have seen with the bat flip. Everybody don't like bat flips, all right? Bat flips, for some reason, have a negative connotation for the old school folks. I love bat flips. I love these small morsels of personality that you get to see from your folks. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, it was this moment right here when Bo Bichette actually had his home run. Boom! Now watch the confidence after he hit the ball. He walks off video game shit, man. Did you see the bat flip? Did you see the bat flip? Hold on, watch this. Get out my hand, man. Bro, this It's the bottom of the third inning. You see that 3 that went up at the very bottom of this clip? That 3 stayed there for 3 more innings. And you know what? Will Smith came up after that and was like, all right, that's cool. I'm going to go ahead. I see you home run. I got a home run too. But his home run was a solo. So it made it 3-1. But then, bam, another knock. All right. Comes not too long after that. I consider and go down the whole rundown, but I think it's kind of boring. I'm going to try to start wrapping this up, actually. So I just think that that's crazy that Bo Bichette was this close to killing the game. The whole vibe of the whole entire series, y'all, was basically Blue Jays is about to win this. If you were watching it and you're listening to the coverage from Fox, it basically sounded like they were trying to wrap it up. They were trying to basically say, yo, look, man, wow. They started doing the whole, wow, the Blue Jays made it this far. What a blah, 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 blah. They was basically saying, yo, the game's over. I mean, it felt that way. It kind of felt that way. You know what I'm saying? But in the clutch, that's not what ended up happening. Despite these moments, despite all this cool stuff happening, despite them having these different opportunities, ultimately, they let their guard down. And this is where the brilliance of Dave Roberts comes into play. All right. Around the 8th, 9th inning, he substitutes. Now, this isn't nothing new. He does this. He did the same thing yesterday where he took out Tommy Edman and put in Justin Dean for defense because you need to be able to guard. And your last few pitchers are not Yamamoto, then you can expect there to be some contact. So they got to have a good outfield so that if there's anything hit out there, you got to catch that ball. All right. So now, even though the Blue Jays is still winning like crazy, and Bo Bichette gets his boop, 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 even though he got all that going on, Dodgers still have the 9th inning to come back. And if it wasn't for crazy plays, oh, did I get that play? Oh man, I didn't upload it. Did I upload it? Oh, I didn't put it on here, man. My bad. There's a play with Andy Paez. Why did I put it in here, man? Where is that? There's a play with Andy Paez. Oh, I guess I didn't put it on here. And he catches the ball and basically knocks over Kike Hernandez in the outfield trying to catch it because he just center fielder. He basically knocked him over. All right. So all I'm saying is, like, this was not a game where the big names came through. Like, Freddie Freeman was very quiet. All right. Mookie Betts, he got a walk, got a hit, and he made the last play of the game as well. So that's always kind of cool when you get to make the last play. But he also didn't strike out, which is one of the things you just want to make sure you do. Because in this time, you don't have no outs to give away. So I'm looking at this, right? Look over here on this left-hand side. You have your Dodgers. Look at the K column. Those are your strikeouts. All right. So you see, there's no other than Will Smith struck out once. Maxton struck out once. Now, Teo had a bad day. I'm not gonna lie. He just had a bad series for the most part. Miggy Rose struck out once, but other than that, man, these folks was on base. Look, Mookie walked twice. All right, didn't even have nothing hit, but he walked twice. But though I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you see that there's a run there. That means that while he got walked, one of those times he got hit in. He is the product of an RBI. All right. Look at this, man. And meanwhile, look on the other side. They struck out 12 times. 12 times against Shohei Ohtani, against Blake Snell, a tiny bit of Tyler Glass now, and Yamamoto, who came in for the Cobra Clutch at the very end, of course, like I said before. So, yeah, man. All right. So let's just get that out the way. And also, another thing I want to address right quick. Like I said, I know there's a lot of folks out there who are going to be like, yeah, the Dodgers, they bought the World Series, man. That's what it is. Big money, hedge fund baseball is the only reason they really won. I just got to point out the fact that the Dodgers were down on the way into Toronto. I just want to point that out, that the Dodgers were down. I want to point out that the Blue Jays won the first game of this World Series 11-4 against Blake Snell, who also came in this game and delivered. I want to also note that the Blue Jays won 2 games in Los Angeles. 2 games in Los Angeles. It was 3-2. The series was 3-2 before they went to Toronto. The Blue Jays should have won. Despite everything everybody's saying about the Dodgers being a completely unbeatable team, the Blue Jays should have won this game. It was the Blue Jays' game to lose. Let's just be honest. It was the Blue Jays' game to lose. They brought that Blue Jay heat, hot energy into the Chavez Ravine out in LA and shut them down. It was quiet in Los Angeles. They had to hold their heads and go back over to Toronto, take the passports, go through immigration, go through customs, and then in a whole other time zone. I know I'm being dramatic. It's baseball. They're always in other time zones. But they had to fight just to even up the series. The Blue Jays had home field advantage from the very first game all the way to the last game. They won the two of the 3 away games they had. So don't give me this, the Dodgers. No, the Blue Jays dropped the ball. I had the Dodgers in 6. And the fact that the Blue Jays won that first game and then 2 in LA and were going into the last 2 games with an advantage and dropped the ball at home? Come on, man. That's not the Dodgers being so unbeatable. If they were unbeatable, they would have swept the Blue Jays. They would have never gave them a chance. They wouldn't have won the first game. They didn't just win the first game. They blew them out. It was a laugher. It was 11-4 against the same Ohtani, the same Mookie Betts, the same Freddie Freeman. So not to mention the fact that the Blue Jays, they're not some little middle market Milwaukee Brewers, Tampa Bay Rays low budget team. The Blue Jays are 5th in payroll. All right, they just signed Vladdy for $500 million, and that's not a deferred deal. Unlike Shohei Ohtani, who shied $700 million, but it's like, defer my shit. I'll take my money when it's of lesser value. Even though he signed for $700 million, he's really only signing for $460 million if you count inflation. And out of that, you know how much they pay him per year? $2 million. Why? Because he says, I want y'all to use the money to build a good team around me. So it ain't got to be all Shohei. You see, Shohei came up under Mike Trout in the Angels, in which they were supposed to be the saviors. And he's like, I don't want to live like that. And you see the product of that. In this game, Shohei contributed, but he was not the sole contributor. In fact, the bench was the biggest contributor in the final game, in my opinion. If you don't got Miggy Rowe, you don't got Andy Pages, you don't got Justin Dean, you do not have a World Series ring. Point blank, period. So I don't want to hear about the Dodgers, and I'm not a fan of the Dodgers. I'm a baseball fan. The Dodgers just happen to know they have a good unit, a good team. And I don't just mean the team of players. I mean the front office works well with the management. The management works well with because you got to understand, like, there's 3 or 4 different languages being spoken in this clubhouse. All right, it's not just I want to speak to Yamamoto, or I can't speak to Andy Paez because he speaks Dominican Spanish, or no, I can't really speak to Yamamoto because he speaks Japanese. There's Japanese, all right, there's Spanish, and you know that depending on what Latino country you come from, there might be multiple kinds of Spanish. Like, Mexican Spanish ain't the same as Puerto Rican Spanish. I don't know if y'all know all that. All right, then you also got Korean, because Hee-Sung Kim is from South Korea. And so you got to have a translator for Korean, a translator for Espanol, a translator for Japonese, and yet they still all have this synergy, bro. I'm sorry, I love that. And you take that, you look on the other side of that, man. You got the Blue Jays, okay, in which Vladdy is the only chocolate morsel on their lineup. Literally the only one, not even in the bullpen. Oh, you want to count Sir Anthony Dominguez? Sure. But that's it. And I mean, hey, that's your prerogative. But I like to see folks that look, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. At one point in time, there was a whole entire Negro league. There wasn't a Dominican league. There wasn't a Puerto Rican league. I mean, there was probably, but I mean, there was like the Negro leagues was a big deal. That's where you get Jackie Robinson and Satchel Paige and, you know, and then all of a sudden, like when you get the big stars, the whole entire love for baseball goes out the window when Michael Jordan becomes popular. Nah, man. So I like to see it. I'm sorry. I like it. I miss the days. I came up underneath the 80s Cardinals with Ozzie Smith, Vince Coleman, and Willie McGee. And this is the prominent members of my baseball team. So yeah, I like that. Call me nostalgic. All right. But yeah, not only did they have these stars, but they had the wherewithal. Like Mookie Betts did not produce. All right. He didn't produce. Let's compare what Dave Roberts did versus what Dan Wilson did up in Seattle in those last few games, in which Dan Wilson was trying to preserve Andres Munoz for a later date and ended up giving up the lead to Toronto in that 5th inning when they was down. He wasn't thinking the moment. He was thinking the future. Doc Roberts is thinking the moment. He's like, Mookie is not hitting. He's batting 1-something. Andy Pages is not hitting. He's got a sub-1 batting average in this World Series. So they made changes. They took Andy Pages out of the lineup. Nah, bro, not on my watch. Nope. Doc is like, nah, he's done this before. Remember last year when Doc had to put in Walker Buehler after he had started the game before? This is not something new for those of y'all that just now started watching. No. So Dave says, nah, man, I'm going to go ahead and put you down. I'm going to let you rest a little bit, Andy Pages. And also, hey Mookie, let me just take a little bit of this pressure off your homeboy. I'm just gonna go ahead and just put you down to the 3rd slot. All right, let's just put you in the 3rd slot instead of having you at the 4th slot. I mean, at the 2nd slot, right after Ohtani. Because what was they doing? They was walking Ohtani to get the Mookie Betts, and Mookie Betts couldn't do nothing about it. He just be like, all right. I mean, I guess I'm gonna have to try to. So yeah. So they make changes. They move Mookie to the 3-hole. Dave Roberts does. And after that, he still ain't really doing nothing, even though he does get the knock that wins game 6. 2 on base. He hits a little boot, single out into the left field area, gets 2 runs in, and then they end up winning. But then Dave's like, nah, I ain't done, man. I'm going to put Mookie to the 4-hole. I'm going to make him the cleanup batter. You know what I'm saying? And it worked. It worked. Like, these are gut decisions. This is not analytics. They asked Dave, they was like, yo, what went into your decision? He's like, yo, I trust my boy. He's like, Mookie's my guy. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, this stuff ain't come out of nowhere, man. This stuff didn't come out of nowhere. Let me see it. Did I just forget to upload that John? Where that John at, man? I want y'all to see this play because this play is ridiculous. Is this it? Nah, that ain't it. That ain't it. Here we go. Oh, nah, that's the Vladdy John. Oh, man, I must ain't did it, man. Oh, man. I guess I didn't. Well, anyway, you just have to take my word for it. Andy Pages went out to catch a fly ball and damn near knocked your boy Kike out. It just completely disregarded any kind of well-being for Kike. But he had to, man. He had to do what he had to do. All right, so a couple other things real quick, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get my ass on up out of here, man. One of the beautiful things about this game as well is that it did not repeat itself. It wasn't the same World Series as last year. Some of y'all might be like, man, where was Freddie Freeman? Freddie Freeman had some good moments last year. Yes, he did. But Freddie Freeman is a member of this team. And so the beauty of it is that where was he this year? he didn't really contribute that much. Let's take a look. This last game, Freddie Freeman had 6 at-bats and 1 hit. That means that's 5 ground balls, 5 pop-outs, 5. He did, look at it, he had a 2 bat. I mean, we don't really, batting average ain't really that big a deal no more. People don't look at it like that no more. But Freddie Freeman didn't much contribute in this, yo. No runs, no walks, didn't strike out, so that's cool. But all he really did this game was play first base. And that's cool. That's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. Freddie Freeman is not the Dodgers. You understand what I'm saying? Freddie Freeman is a member of the Dodgers. And so I'm happy that he didn't have to necessarily pull all this weight, and that he can literally, because the man is not a young spring chicken no more. But yeah, the man got 2 rings with Atlanta and 1 ring with Atlanta and 2 with LA now. So, and he's always smiling and he's happy and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So you got to give him a little bit of credit. All right, now Snell. Can we talk about Blake Snell for 1 second real quick before I get on up out of here? Blake Snell had a crazy game a couple weeks ago where he basically he pitched a full complete game. I think he had like just 2 hits. You know what I'm saying? I think he had 1 run, something of that sort. But Blake Snell was a kick-ass pitcher for these Dodgers. And it felt like he had something to prove, especially coming from San Francisco last year, right? Like, he came from San Fran, where they weren't contenders, to going to the Los Angeles Dodgers, where he essentially knew for a fact, damn near, that he was going to be going to the postseason. So Blake Snell goes out. He pitches this CG not too long ago. I want to say it was against Milwaukee, but don't quote me on that. And we're like, yo, Blake Snell's that guy. Oh, my God. But then he goes to start off the Los Angeles Dodgers World Series run in Toronto, and they completely, they obliterate him. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, Blake Snell's very first pitch was a home run. Very first pitch, home run. All right. 2 pitches later, Vladdy, boom, home run. All right. And then what did Blake Snell do? Blake Snell was like, yeah, they got lucky. Blake Snell said, yeah, it was kind of lucky, you know. They, you know, it wasn't really talent. They just really got lucky. And I don't think the Blue Jays fans really like that much. But those was his words. And he kind of made some sense out of it, you know. But you think that the Blue Jays wasn't sitting there thinking about the fact that they got lucky? That he said that. Now, this is not the first time. Jazz Chisholm said the same thing about the Kansas City Royals last year before they went to play the Royals, even though they ended up beating them in the playoffs. But yeah. But Blake Snell even says he look, so everybody's not God-fearing. So yeah, that's just his belief. He believes that they got lucky. The thing I'm bringing this up for is because if you say something like that and you know you got a target on your back, you got to go back out and produce. So now after he says that and the media runs away with it and starts saying, yo, oh, he's going to call them lucky. You know what I'm saying? Then he has to go back outside. He has to go out there and play.
Frustrating. Seems like going away from the fastball a little bit after the Vlad homer. Is that sort of just reacting to what they were clearly trying to do early in counts against you? I mean, Vlad's, he's a really good hitter, so you gotta, do stuff there. But the rest of the lineup, yeah, they're like ambushing. I mean, I'll probably, if we get to Game 7, then I'll see him again. So I can't say much, but no, I mean, yeah, I've said, yeah, Vlad, good hitter. Schneider, I mean, he hit it 1 mile an hour harder than I threw it. Good location. Varsho triple, curveball, capped. Like, luck plays in baseball too. Yeah, so, yeah. Just fun.
Yeah, unlucky. Unlucky. Not they was so talented. Not those ball players were so
Oh,
good.
Blake, just with how this game started, what do you think allowed them to get to you so early before you were able to settle in?
I mean, it didn't really get to me. It was first pitch of the game, 97 fastball up and in. He hits at 98, it goes out. Pretty unlucky. And then Vlad, that's just a bad pitch, and then fastball.
Do you hear what he's doing? He is undermining. He's undermining Schneider. He's saying, Schneider, you didn't really hit the ball out the park. You got lucky. The ball just happened to hit your bat at the right place, at the right velocity, at the right launch angle to make it go out of the park. You didn't do it on skill, talent. There was nothing you earned. I was unlucky. So he has to take the mound and face the same folks he just basically called untalented. But he pays it off. He makes it work. And there he is, celebrating in the World Series. Win. Because, yes, he believed he was better. They didn't really get to me. Luck plays a role in baseball. And I actually believe that. I don't believe that about the pitches he's talking about. Those were bad pitches. Okay. And that sometimes happens too. But Snell had his, I don't want to call it revenge, but his moment of redemption when he was able to pitch in game 7, and he did not end up having a bad outing. All right. He didn't end up having a bad outing. So shout out to you, Blake. A couple more things. Kershaw. Everybody's all up in arms about Kershaw and his naked top half, who's always running around the locker room half naked because he just wants to win more World Series. Because he, for some reason, doesn't even hardly want pants when he wins his these games. But we're dealing with a dude who's in his 40s, who's played for one organization his entire 16 years in baseball, who, got knocked around a little bit by the Cardinals back in the playoffs, but we didn't even win that year, so it don't even matter. And we're talking about the end of an era of pitchers, because Clayton Kershaw was one of the first ones, if I'm not mistaken, to pitch that wasn't him. That was Blake Snell. My bad. Blake Snell was the one that pitched it. But yeah, man, this dude, he went deep, man. He jokes with with all of the production crews afterwards that he's not going to be able to make it in this industry when his fastball is only 88 miles an hour now. 88 miles per hour. But it's kind of cool to see Kershaw do his little thing, man. He's seems like a fun-loving dude. One thing I like about the Dodgers that is not the same as the Yankees back when the Yankees kept winning in the early 2000s or in the turn of the century is that they're just, like Roy Wood Jr. said, likable. They're just likable dudes. I don't get that evil empire. Yeah, they're the ones to beat. Yeah, they got all the money, even though a lot of it's deferred. But I don't get that same vibe I used to get with like Joe Torre and the Yankees back in 1998, 99, 2000, where Jeter and them, they never smiled, unless it was like some crazy stuff off, in the game, like where there's no personality at all. With the Yankees, where you're not allowed to have facial hair or to have your name on the back of your jersey. You know what I'm saying? Where the colors are dark or like navy blue and gray. It's like a bad day in London at night. It's like looking at the sky in Birmingham. It's not the Yankees. I don't have that same feeling about this squad. All right. The Dodgers are fun. Doing the whole palm tree dance, that's fun. Even Brian Kenny don't like it, but I love it. Doing the whole, and Mookie Betts 2 days ago said to the press, I can't speak for nobody else, but I am terrible. I am terrible. I'm playing terrible. And I just gotta do something. I don't know what I'm gonna do. You know what I'm saying? I just got to be better. And how much more candid can you be? Can you be more candid than that? Like, I don't remember getting that type of humility from the Yankees. Now, I don't know. It's been a long time ago, so maybe it was there, but I just don't remember. This is why it's easier for me to watch and enjoy the play of these dudes, because they say things like this.
I've just been terrible. I've been terrible, and there's no. I wish it was from lack of effort. I really do, but it's not. So I don't have any answers.
This is a dude like he about to cry. He putting everything into it. He's asking. He's trying different things. He don't know what the hell going on. And so what ends up happening? Well, fast forward 3 days, and now we're talking and saying a lot of different stuff to Mookie Betts, ain't we?
I know it hasn't been great for me, but this year hasn't been great. I mean, I just was able to find a way to lock in. I don't know, God, that's all I can really say. I was able to find a way to lock in, and I got to be ready for tomorrow now.
Now that was the last game. But in that last game, he did end up contributing the hit that got the Dodgers to go ahead and successfully tie the series 3-3 because they were down. They were down. Okay. So, look, in closing, I could do this all day. A few things that I thought were noteworthy. Let's not forget about the fact that the Toronto Blue Jays were not playing at 100%. These dudes did not have their full lineup. They did acquire a young man by the name of Anthony Santander in the offseason last year. He came from the Baltimore Orioles. All right, and this was a big deal too to get this dude because he's a slugger, right? It was supposed to be, even though he's a little older, not that old though. He's still in his 30s. All right, and he unfortunately, he ends up getting hurt. So he doesn't contribute. That's money off of their payroll that isn't doing anything for him. In addition to that, you also got your boy Bo Bichette, who is not running 100%. There's a couple instances. If you're watching that game, then you're probably noticing that Bo Bichette was losing the opportunity to go to the next base whenever he would get on base. There was an instance in which he got a knock, was on first, that he couldn't run but to first base, even though it was probably a double that he hit. All right. And there was also, I think, an instance in which he got the ball hit. He was on base. He was at second, and he probably, if he was full percent, he probably could have went all the way home. But he only had one good knee or one good leg. All right. George Springer, same thing. Did you see every one of George Springer's at bats? Man, it was the most painful thing in the world to watch George Springer taking that bat. It was like he was taking an at bat while in sackcloth. Like while he was sitting there like in torturous garb. Like it's like he was it was not fun to watch. All right. George Springer, whenever he went up the plate, he winced, he was in pain, he wasn't able to just give a free swing. All right. And I say that because it shows one of the reasons why they did lose, because they didn't have the same level of depth with regard to their starters. Even though the Dodger starters ain't hitting like that, they weren't injured. Unlike last year where Mookie Betts came in off of being out on the IL after having a broken hand for so long, where Freddie Freeman was not only limping because his leg was messed up, but his rib was messed up, and his son was having some strange disease that was messing with him, and a whole bunch of crazy stuff was going on. Nah. Everybody was at 100%. 100% may be pushing it. But everybody, there wasn't no injury concerns. But on the Blue Jays side of things, they have a half of Bo Bichette, who was a question mark before the World Series came into play. It was like, are you going to play the World Series? He didn't play in the playoffs. Just the World Series. All right. Then you got George Springer, who the Springer dinger that launched them into the World Series. All right, against the Randy Rosarenas against the Seattle Mariners, who I really am looking forward to seeing next year with Cal Raleigh and Julio Rodriguez. All right. But yeah, man, you got an injured George Springer. You have a hurt IL, not even on the roster, Anthony Santander. You have a not fully functioning Bo Bichette, who is the best hitter in the American League. All right. And they still managed to go 7 with the best team in the Major League Baseball, in our baseball. So Blue Jays, y'all shouldn't really feel too bad, man. It was a really tough assignment. It was a high hill to climb. And I ain't gonna lie, man. Even though you did drop the ball, you did drop the ball. Let's not make no mistake. Y'all dropped the ball. You dropped the ball. And Vladdy, you especially, after you was out there gloating after you won against the Yankees and you was doing all, Yankees lose. Yankees lose. Well, look like they had something to say about that. Look like the Blue Jay lose. The Blue Jay lose. And I don't have a stake in this, man. I would have had good things to say about whichever team won. I do think that, I'm not gonna lie. I've been saying that I think that the Dodgers winning is better for baseball. And my reason for this is because the Dodgers have more faces that are more internationally recognizable right now. Like, I do think that Mookie is a very good ambassador for the sport. As a Black American, I do think that Freddie Freeman, as a dude who actually has some roots in Canada, who was with the Braves, who just is an overall nice guy, a good middle class blue collar type guy. I do think that Shohei Ohtani is bringing in all kind of clout for the LA Dodgers, but that's not just for the Dodgers, that's for baseball. You know what I'm saying? Because of Shohei Ohtani, the interest, we're going to start seeing a lot more Japanese players that are doing things that Americans thought were not supposed to be done. Like right now, the Japanese players, some of them are like, why are y'all not pitching and hitting at the same time? I don't get it. Wait a minute. What do you mean y'all pitch before? So you're not going to pitch again the next day, even though you can? Like the way that we have gotten our standards to a place where we don't even allow ourselves to think outside of the boxes that we've set for ourselves in terms of position players being position players only, or pitchers being POs and pitchers only, or for players that are pitching to only be pitching 5 days. Once every 5 or 6 days. When Yamamoto just said, nah, I'm cool. I can pitch today. And if y'all need me at the end of an 18-inning game, that's cool. I'm here for you too. And also, I will go ahead and start a game, and I'll do a complete game. And if you need me again at the end of another game, and then you need me at the end of another game, I'm here. Like, he's making Americans look stupid. He's making them look like little leaguers. They look like there's almost should be a league above MLB. Like, is that the Banana League or something? I don't know. But but he's making them look stupid. Ohtani's making Americans look like he's making us look real easy. They're making it look real easy. You know what I'm saying? So tighten up. Another quick story. Max Scherzer, St. Louis's very own Max Scherzer, is now a free agent. This was one of his last chances. This dude has been to the World Series multiple times. I think he was with I think he went with the Tigers. He went with the Rangers. I think he went with what was his other team? It was the Tigers, the Rangers, and oh man, I'm missing the other team that he played on. Oh, the Nationals, where he won. He won with the Nationals 2019. Excuse me, Juan Soto, all of those cats. Okay. But now he's a free agent. And my inkling is with this move that they made over in San Francisco, hiring Tony Vitello, who he knew it when he was at Mizzou. It looks like that might make sense, especially since we know Buster Posey likes to hire 40-year-old pitchers, i.e. Justin Verlander, who just spent his 42nd year of age in San Francisco, trying to beat Nolan Ryan's all-time strikeout record. And Justin Verlander got a $15 million one-year deal. I suspect that Max Scherzer will get a multi-million-dollar one-year deal to go to San Francisco so he can be a mentor to that pitching staff. Logan Webb, Logan Webb. Who else? Well, they had Blake Snell, but he gone. But Logan Webb's the ace out there. And there's a couple others that their names are escaping me. You know what? I'm not gonna do this to myself. This is Logan Webb. All right, whatever. I'll go look it up. So yeah, interested in seeing what happens with St. Louis's own Max Scherzer. The blue eye, the brown eye made this postseason real exciting, especially when he went off on Schneider when he tried to take him off the mound during that game against the Seattle Mariners. So yeah, man, that's interesting. So in closing, y'all, I just don't think that this is a also shout out to Trey Yesavage, who was in low A ball, basically little league at the very beginning of the year, down in Dunedin, Florida, not far from where I am now, to go to pitching 2 games in the World Series. Even though he didn't start all of those games. Big deal, bro. All right, big deal. I know you living at the hotel now and all of that, but I predict big numbers coming for you in the future in terms of a paycheck, fam. You know what? I ain't paid the Instagram, not no. All right, I hope people in here know. So, hey, what's up, Toya? So yeah, man, that's it. Here's the thing. I want to talk baseball more. All right, I'm just keep it real with you. I do. And so I feel like I am on the cusp of establishing some sort of baseball platform, especially now in the off season, since we don't have any baseball to watch. So I can see that happening. I don't know exactly what it is yet. I've struggled between figuring out what it is I want to call, this platform. It started as sports bar, and then it was like batter up, and then it was like hardball, and then it was like on the black, and now I'm thinking like chocolate baseball. I don't freaking know, but I do think I would like to explore this arena. But if I will, it will be nice if anybody happened to listen to this and thought that this was in any way, shape, or form productive or entertaining or informative or whatever. Then I need a little encouragement to keep this project going, because I feel like, man, I'm the only dude I know that watches baseball, because a lot of folks try to tell me it's a white sport, which I'm not going to argue with, because it did kind of get whitewashed. But I do believe that black people like Hank Aaron and I want to say Jackie Robinson, obviously, but also your Ernie Bankses and your Satchel Pages, your Ozzie Smiths, your Barry Bondses. I mean, these folks were the pillar of the sport for such a long time, and it's just kind of weird for me to go from loving baseball cards to being like, nah, I don't like it no more because we only make up 6% of the sport. So I'm hoping that we have glory days again, and for that reason, I do think that I will continue to do some talk baseball content. Oh, by the way, looks like there was some celebrities that showed up to the World Series game on the way out. Yeah, we already know. We've been talking about how the Dodgers won and completely destroyed the Blue Jays' opportunity to have a win, since they haven't won since 1993. But here's a few folks that showed up on the way out. Do you recognize these folks? Ooh, look at this. Is it too late now to say sorry? All right, let's go over this. Bim. All right, who is this, y'all? Who is this? Y'all want to inform me? Madison, Beer, and Justin Herbert. Oh, Justin Herbert. Okay, I know Justin Herbert. All right, that's cool. That means. All right, who else we have? You ever heard of Rob Lowe? Yeah, he's cool. I like Adam Devine. Okay, Haley and Justin Bieber. Now, it's crazy that they actually got married. It's crazy. Fuerza Regida. All right, I'm assuming he's somebody big. Jacob Elordi. I feel like I know him, but I don't know him. Cooper Cott. I think that's I'm embarrassing myself. Jeff Goldblum. Hey, it's Ian Malcolm. I know him. The Fly. Of course I know The Fly. All right, and obviously, if you was here for the earlier half of the broadcast, they weren't the only ones. There was also one dude, especially if you're somebody who likes Toronto, you probably recognize this gentleman right here who did stop by as well. So, did I show it? Where'd it go? Oh, yeah, you probably recognize this dude right here. And I bet you he's a little salty now. And if I'm keeping it real, like, Drake don't really be showing a lot of love to Toronto. To the Toronto Blue Jays. A lot of love to the Raptors. But there he is in a sweep. But unfortunately, don't look like it ended up working out the way you probably wanted it to, dog. So yeah, man, I am going to bid thee adieu. Thank you if anybody did tune in. Appreciate you. Like, subscribe, comment, all of the usual things that the kids say. And yeah, let's talk a little baseball in the offseason. A few things to look forward to in the offseason is who's going to be the manager of the San Diego Padres. Is it going to be Albert Pujols? I don't know. All right, what's going on with these San Francisco Giants? They just hired a college coach from Tennessee. Is that going to work out? He's never worked in the pros. Is that going to work? I don't know. All right. Are the Mets going to actually be competitive this year since they have the second highest payroll in all of baseball? I don't know. We still don't have any manager for the Baltimore Orioles, if I'm not mistaken. The Rangers just got Skip Schumacher, who was a St. Louis legend from our days in 2006 and 2011, the glory days with Pujols. What's going on? Who wins Manager of the Year? Last year, it was Pat Murphy in the Brewers, for the Brewers. And I believe for the AL, it was Aaron Boone. I could be wrong about that, though. Does Pat Murphy run it back? Does he win Manager of the Year again? Do the Toronto Blue Jays have enough in them to re-sign Bo Bichette, who becomes a free agent after this year and has been with the Toronto Blue Jays since he came up from the minors, with Vladimir Guerrero? So much. You don't know what's going to happen. Oh, and also, big deal. Big deal. Guess what? Oh, yeah. ABS is coming to baseball. You know what that means, right? That means there's no longer, oh, that was a ball, Oh, that was a strike, Oh, no. Now you can challenge the strikes and balls in the game. I witnessed it myself. They showed it off in spring training down in Jupiter and in Fort Pierce. As soon as the ball goes through the strike zone, if the pitcher, the batter, or the catcher want to challenge it, you get 2 challenges. You tap your head like Felicia and you say, look, I need to look at that through the digital system. So now there is a check on the umpires. The umpires are no longer judge, jury, and execution when it comes to balls and strikes. There is now a jury out, and that is called the ABS, the automatic ball and strike system. This officially starts in 2026. So you're going to see a lot of this. That wasn't no strike. No, you didn't. That wasn't no strike, ho. But I can't wait. It's going to make baseball so much more exciting. And if you are one like myself that likes to go to the ballpark, those couple seconds in which they stop and say, the batter is challenging the ball call at the plate, bam, automatically it goes up on the screen. Everybody sees what we basically see on TV. And if the ball touches the strike zone, doesn't have to be emerged, doesn't have to be the greater half of the percent. If the seam of the ball touches the strike zone, it is a strike. So this is exciting for me, at least. So I'm looking forward to seeing that introduced next season. All right, man, let me stop dragging this out. I like to talk a lot, so hopefully I'll establish someday. I would just say, if you wouldn't mind, follow, like, subscribe, and tune in again. Drop a comment, let me know if I should even do this again, because I ain't gonna lie, I be getting discouraged. I feel like I'm the only black guy I know that loves baseball the way that I do, and I hold it a secret for a while. Anyway, been nice, y'all. Take it easy. And yeah, man, congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers for bringing the ring back to LA, back to America, and by default, by way of proxy, back to Japan. All right, y'all. Peace.